Real laughter, it's cathartic. It's the current that moves through an audience when some truth is revealed. Figure out what it is that you have to say. Get your ass on that stage. Say it.
Fuck you.
Tell me, pal, is there a Mrs. Drunken Shithead at home?
How'd you like a fucking beating, huh?
Thank you, you've been a great crowd.
Do you think I'll ever play the main stage?
Goldie doesn't owe you shit. You're not in the main room because you're not ready.
I got agents and producers packing this place every night.
It's motherfucking comedy, man. God, hit him.
I used to do a lot of handyman work growing up, mostly because my dad was in the business of breaking shit.
These kids, they trust that when I know they're ready, that's when they're ready.
Mexican is a dirty word. Say Mexican before anything sounds bad. Took my kids to the circus. The Mexican circus.
Amateur night's Tuesday night, guys.
No. We're pros from Boston.
I got a place you can go up right now.
Hi, my name is Ron, and I'm an alcoholic. That's awesome.
These are tortured souls. That volatility, that pain, that's the price of brilliance.
You gotta push that envelope. You gotta shove it down their fucking throats.
You know you are overmeshed when you end up blowing a guy on the first date. That's it, the end. You know what I'm talking about.
Every other comic's success, every set he kills is one more that we didn't get. Every laugh should feel like a sharp poke in your eye. If it doesn't, get the fuck out, because you don't care enough.
There it is. That's a motherfucking 2:30 in the morning pancake speech right there.
Fuck you and fuck you.
All funny guys are damaged. And for some reason, women find that sexy.
Jesus Christ.
Showbiz.
Oh, stop. Tell me more about me.
Erik Griffin, keep it going, Erik Griffin, guy. Wow, you couldn't do it? I was actually telling you to do it.
These bastards.
Let's throw them all out and just do an interview together, just us. Erik, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, you got a lot going on right now.
And I know, even the ending Workaholics after 7 seasons and being that crazy character and then jumping right into a new show, I feel like...
Did you jump right into it, or did you have a moment where...
We were doing them, actually, I was filming them both at the same time. Season 7 of Workaholics and season 1 of I'm Dying Up Here were at the same time. That's why if you look at Workaholics season 7 this year, and you see how my mustache is thick as hell... because I couldn't cut it because I was doing the other show at 70s. So that's why it looks Montez looks a little weird in the last season of Workaholics. But
well, good for you. You didn't have that period of time between one show and the next show coming. You were like,
I know.
I got work, guys. I'm good. I'm going.
I swang into the next show. Let's do this.
let's talk about I'm Dying Up Here, because you are a stand-up comedian. And, you know, when you sign on to do a show about stand-up comedians, what is your biggest fear about that? How much input do you want to have as an actor? How hard is it to not have as much input as you might want to have?
Well, first of all, I wasn't that familiar with the era, like about how they did comedy back then. It's different from how I do comedy. Like Ralph, the character, and Erik Griffin don't do comedy the same way. So that was a little weird to try to get the gist of that. And you
just mean the jokes themselves,
just
or do you mean
even just the jokes and even how they're delivered. So the hardest thing to do is to get your point of view. If you're trying to be a comic, to be comfortable on stage takes years. So now I have to make up that time and kind of translate it from how I do comedy to how this person does comedy. So that was a little challenging, but...
And this show's really about this sort of strange period of time during the boom of Richard Pryor. I mean, Richard Pryor's big, but he's not the biggest yet. And so this idea of the individual point of view of the comedian is still kind of new, because so often they're coming off of the... Jack Benny kind of. Is it Jack Benny? Is that the guy? Yeah, the
juggling and just set up punch.
Exactly. It's not about a specific person's point of view in storytelling, which is what these comedians are sort of just starting to learn.
Yeah, that's what that time period was with Carlin and Richard Pryor, right? And then talking about race and talking about the issues of the time. That was something new, and everybody was like, "Oh, I love this!" And now everybody's jamming to the comedy clubs to check it out. That's so that's the era that we're talking about. But my favorite part about the show is the stuff outside of the comedy club. or the stuff like, you know, off stage, I mean. That's the stuff that really resonates with me because that's me and my colleagues now, my friends. We're at diners talking smack about each other. That's the fun stuff. You got to watch it.
I would agree with that, and I would say the show does a really great job of not making what is said on stage to be the sort of end-all be-all or the center of the show. What's said on stage is funny sometimes, but sometimes it's like it's not funny. It's just sort of a comedian doing his work, and we're focused on the other stuff going on behind the scenes.
But the other thing too is like we're in the 2000s right now, so the stuff that you would be talking about in the 70s wouldn't be as funny to us right now. So, and I think they sort of captured that. So it's like a weird dance we had to play. Like, is this gonna be, how funny are we gonna make this 70s stuff, or like how is it gonna translate? And so I don't know, maybe in season 2, if we get a season 2, you have to watch, damn it.
Well, you premiered last night, congratulations.
We premiered last night, so we don't know the numbers or anything like that yet, but it's Showtime, they don't really care, right?
I don't know about that.
As long as all our moms watch, they'll, second season! I hope.
Getting a little bit of buzz. We're gonna go for 4 more seasons.
It's a great show, says Erik Griffin's mom, you know.
Well, go back to this idea of the kind of character that you're playing and talking about race on stage, because your character does talk about race on stage, but there is this, and I didn't think of this when I watched it, this idea of how his point of view is formed, because it's still coming from this angle of how a comedian should sound versus his own original point of view, right?
Yes, because it's like, I thought, when I was doing that, I was thinking about like early Richard Pryor. He was trying to be like Bill Cosby, you know? So he wanted to be this clean cookie cutter. So I thought that this is where Ralph is in his career right now. He's just trying to be like straight-laced and be like a fun guy. And then maybe later, you know, in seasons to come, he goes hard, you know? You never know. But that's where I had it in my head at that time.
And is 73, 72 just when Richard Pryor started going hard, or had he been sort of going...
No, that's when this is like when he starts, you know, it's like the N-word is flying all over the place and cursing and then the drugs and like all that was just probably like in the heyday of that. Like he was just revving up to be the giant that he became.
And your character is kind of the MC at the club a lot of the time, right? At Goldie's?
All the times. I think he's like the big brother of the group too. Like the real level head. He's got this great job that is probably stifling his growth as an entertainer and a comedian. You know, and so, but he's comfortable, you know, and he's like the guy that people turn to. So I can relate to that too, because I'm kind of like that with my friends. You know what I mean?
Are you really?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I'm just a caring guy. I think my mom raised me a certain way, and I feel like I'm a level-headed guy, and people always call, hey, what do you think about this? And I think I can have a good perspective about both sides, or hearing everything. I think Ralph has a little bit of that too.
What's it like working with Melissa Leo?
Melissa Leo was a gem, but she's method. You know, so like if the script says Goldie is on coke and agitated, Melissa Leo's gonna be agitated on set. So she very much, but she was like having an acting coach, because she would just come out of nowhere. Like she would just be like right there at your ear, like, you know, next time you do that scene, you should do this. And I'd be like, what's going on? You know, but I learned a lot from her. I really did. And she was like the hippie mom on set too. Because when she's not doing whatever character she's doing, she's this hippie. She has her own trailer that, you know, that's got like, you know, compost and, you know what I mean? Like she's growing her own vegetables in her trailer, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So she was so great to work with. Like it's like she's a Academy Award winner. So I had this scene across from her, and I just was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is happening right now. To go from like Workaholics to this was like it's a tremendous gift.
Did you guys go from pilot straight to season, or did you shoot the pilot, wait to get picked up, and then start shooting the season? I don't know.
No, exactly. We shot the pilot like 2 Novembers ago, and then we found out we were going to get picked up. Then like 6 or 7 months later, we started filming, and then we finished the next November, and now we've been waiting for it to finally come to air. So this is like the culmination of like a year and a half, and then, you know, here we are.
I saw you tweeting last night about your cast members. You love Ari Grainer. She's amazing.
I got to tell you, I love all my castmates. I've never worked on anything like that where we're so close. Like we've been in a chat group on our phones since we did the pilot. So every day we're like, you know, we're talking smack to each other, sending each other like inappropriate pictures, and like saying, you know, we really are a tight-knit group. So when it finally came on air, we were just last night, it was so mushy. I wish I could show you all the text messages of like, it's so great working with you guys, and this is the best, getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it.
Are you the lone comedian of the group of actors?
It's me, Andrew Santino, Al Madrigal, John Daly.
Right.
Those are like the comics.
The comics of it.
And then the others, Ari Grainer, Clark Duke, Mike Agriano.
Clark Duke's kind of a comic. I mean, he's done a lot of comedy.
He's a comedic actor, but they did their work. Those guys went to open mics, and they were talking to us all the time about it, and so they really I appreciate the work that they put in. It's really difficult to like tell some actor to be a comic after a comic's taken 10, 15 years to hone their craft. Then here comes some actor like, oh, I could do it. To all their credit, they really did a great job.
Now, as we see in the show, comics sort of love to bust each other's chops, for lack of a better phrase. Can the actors get in on that as well? Or do you find they're a little more sensitive and you try to?
Oh, they're super. That's so funny you say that. Ari Grainer is so sensitive about it. We had to she's like our little sister on set, so she's always like, "Why are you guys talking about me like this?" Because she's an actress, all right? But we really beat her down, so now she's, now she's one of us. You know what I mean? So we hadn't seen each other in a long time. We went to the South by Southwest. So we hadn't seen each other in a few months. So then right away, we're at the dinner table, we're capping on each other, and she's like, oh, I forgot I missed this,
I was wondering about that while I was watching, because I was like, oh, there's a couple comedians at this table who probably love doing this, really are excited by it. And then there's a couple actors at this table who are probably like, I just want to know if I did good.
Yeah. I remember the first time Al Madrigal and I met Clark Duke, because Clark Duke, he's like a 65-year-old woman. He's like he really is. He had this Louis Vuitton bag, and first time we see him, we go, "Oh man, is that your grandma's bag?" We just going at him. I saw his face. He was like, "Oh, is this how this is gonna be?"
Great fucking comedian.
yeah. That is how everybody feels. But now they're just like, okay, we get it. It's a sign of affection, really. It really is.
So, the first episode aired last night. The second episode is available on the Showtime.
Yes, on demand, Showtime anytime. You should download the app. And you can also download the episodes. That's the only Showtime anytime is offering that service. Yes, you can watch the first 2 episodes right now,
And now, I've seen 6 episodes. I watched them all on Saturday. I loved it. What was it like? I mean, how did you see your character's arc getting fleshed out? Because it really doesn't start getting fleshed out until further into the season.
That's exactly how I felt about it too. I didn't know what was happening yet.
Worried at first?
No, I wasn't necessarily worried because I wasn't thinking about it yet because I was so excited about just being on another show, really, and working with these great people. But then as 5, 6, 7, 8, and the stuff that I was going through, I was like, of course I was super nervous because there's a lot of drama in the show. It's about comedy, but it's very dramatic. So I had to really dig deep with that kind of stuff. And so it made me a little nervous about it. But it was once I saw where it was going, I was so excited about it.
You have a hard time doing drama? Because I know I've heard comedians talk a lot of time that comedians in general have a hard time taking the drama in their own life seriously, sort of always on the outside looking in and making cracks about it. So then when you're acting dramatically, you can sort of see yourself being dramatic on the outside.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying, but I felt like I think most comedians, if you talk to them, are very serious, too serious. We're very serious about everything because we're analyzing everything. So if you if you don't think about it too much, you just what is this scene about? And you just do it. I think that's why you see a lot of comedians becoming very, very good dramatic actors because that drama's already in there. The angst and the pain and all that stuff is there. We're just trying to bring it out without being so over the top. Because usually when you're a comic, you're just an exaggeration of yourself. So when we're on stage, we got to perform. And we're like, yeah, your mama stinks, or whatever we're saying about each other, whatever we say,
That is the go-to example.
Yeah, I know. How do you know my mom stinks? Whatever, but now we're just not being over the top. We're being subtle. But that's what's about the directors. We had so many great directors that worked on the show.
The first episode is beautifully directed.
Yeah, Jonathan Levine.
He clearly was like, Boogie Nights, let's do that. And it's amazing.
Yeah, he was great. He walks around the set and he goes and he just comes out of nowhere every single time. He never came from the same place. He'd just show up and be like, try it this way, and I like that kind of stuff. And the best kind of directing for me is when they know what they want. Right. Tell me what you want me to do, and then I'll be a piece of clay. You can mold me. I can't stand when a director's like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. You're the damn director. You know what I mean?
I would be the one that's like, try it out. Let me see what you're going to do, and then I'll tell you that it's all wrong.
No, you can't. See, that's somebody that's not prepared.
Just do the thing. Do the thing. Shoot it however you want. I'm going to go into the trailer. I don't like this.
You don't even interview like that. Imagine if you were like, okay, so Eric, what do you want to talk about? Just tell us.
I've tried that before.
It doesn't work, right?
It did not go well
Exactly. So why would it go well with directing? You know what I mean?
So speaking of comedy
hair's
actors.
Outrageous.
Max Headroom. I love it. Speaking of...
but a redhead.
Exactly. But comedy actors who went from comedy to serious acting, Jim Carrey's an EP of this.
Oh, Jim Carrey, yeah. And Jim Carrey, you know what the best word I can use for Jim Carrey right now is woke. He is on a higher level of thinking right now, man. You talk to him, and he's just like existential, and just like all the things that have happened to him in his life have brought him to this point. He's got the beard, and he's just. I could tell he's just thinking about things on a higher level and really in tune with who he is. You know, we did James Corden, and backstage he pulled a Jolly Rancher out of his beard, and I don't know if he was making a joke. He was like, "Eric, would you like a Jolly Rancher?" And he like. I was like, okay, you're a weirdo now. I like it, you know.
Speaking, we said you have a number of things going on Showtime. You also have a special coming.
Yes,
right?
I have my very first comedy special, very first hour special on Showtime called The Ugly Truth. You know, I wanted to be in better shape, but I talk about it on the special too.
Talk about how there's no support for big men in
there
this
isn't.
world.
There was no support for big men. It's like there's no There's no fat guy empowerment song on the radio. You know what I mean? But every year there's some girl song. You know, big bitches unite. You know. But yeah. So this is like. I've been doing comedy long enough where I had so much material that I thought, what kind of special did I want to do? I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be high energy. I wanted it to be like, hey, this is me being funny. And the next one I'll try to change the world. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't, comics shouldn't feel like they have to change the world. Is that a thing right now? Or
I think that it's just like, I'm being facetious, but it's like really just like when you have when you can have a strong point of view about politics, religion, or whatever the things that you want to talk about, how your life, you go, hey, this is who I am now, and this is what I think about the world, and I want to share it. At the same time, be entertaining. I mean, that's the thing that people forget sometimes.
I will say I saw Norm Macdonald perform last night, and he did no political humor almost whatsoever. He just did not care, even sit at the top. You care about politics, I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to talk about it. And I was like, good for you. Like, be funny, be a comic.
Well, you know what's weird right now is that the political climate is so weird. It's like it makes everybody uncomfortable right now because we don't know what's going on. It's like when you look at fiction right now, like I tweeted about this the other day, like I'm looking at House of Cards, and like House of Cards is not even that far-fetched anymore. Like when you look at that fiction of all the nonsense that happens on that show, you go, this would never happen, and you go, well, actually, this could possibly happen. So now we're looking at every fictional thing right now, and we're looking at it with a little bit of like, oh man, could this happen? It's like that show. Housemaidens, or what is it on Hulu?
The Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaids. Oh man, like you look at that show and you go, God, is this what's next? That's because of what's going on in the political climate. We think all this kind of stuff is like some kind of weird. It could possibly happen.
I would say the one benefit of things being like House of Cards, if they were like House of Cards, we would feel a little more confident in the person in control. At least they were like a mastermind putting pieces of the puzzle together. Right now we just have a dumpster fire that's lit and going and like juggling and
I would love
out.
to see Trump though, like turn and talk to the camera. That'd be so awesome.
He does all the time, man.
But if he's talking, like it would be great if like at a press conference Trump just turned to the camera and went, "These people are dumb. They're wrong."
But what if he just suddenly turned really smart, like Kevin Spacey?
I know. It'd be like
totally character change.
It's all a game. It's all like, what if he is a mastermind?
I really like this.
Yeah.
This is how I got elected.
This isn't even really my hair,
Eric, when did you first start doing comedy? Where and when? How old were you?
I'm from Los Angeles, so I started in LA. It was like around 2003 where I was like, you know what? I don't want to wake up 50 and be like I didn't follow my dreams. I had a whole other life plan.
How old were you?
I was 30. At the time. I'm an old guy right now. And here I am. So that's why I always tell people, follow your dreams, especially young people. I see a lot of young people in the crowd right now, and it's like, you might have whatever your dream is, take the opportunity and try to do it, because you never know. And you could always come back. Like if, our society, we keep telling kids like, you have to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a businessman, We don't talk about trades. We don't talk about the arts. We don't talk about the things that move us, the things that we're passionate about, even if it is those things. But find what you're passionate about and chase it. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Even Phyllis Diller started comedy when she was 40, and she became a legend. So you could do it too. But, we don't tell people that. I'm telling you.
What was your first time doing comedy like? Was it an open mic? Did you just go?
No, I went to a comedy class. I have a very supportive mom. I'm a mama's boy. I don't mind saying that. And my mom's the kind of person that if I said I wanted to be a rock climber, she would the next day sign me up at a rock climbing class at the Learning Annex and buy me some ropes and hooks.
Same.
So I told her, I said I want to be a comedian, and I could tell she was like, okay, and then signed me up for a comedy class. And so I went to this comedy class. I had a showcase. The showcase, the end class, it was at the actual comedy store. We did this showcase, and then I was just hooked. It's such a drug to be on stage and people laughing at what you say. But I didn't know what to do at the time. So when I was young, I was like 22. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no mentors. I was scared. I was living in fear, and then I stopped. I didn't do it again until 8 years later. So that's why I always say I really started in 2003.
Did you find a mentor pretty quickly when you started again?
No, because I was a little older or more mature. I realized that I had to cultivate relationships. It wasn't a fast thing. You don't just make friends. I'm not just going to be, we're friends now. No, you have to take time. You have to water it. It's like a plant. You got to water it. You got to keep it in the sun. You got to go to it every single day, and then you can become friends. Genuine relationships, I realized, is what I needed to get. So. And then I knew I needed to get respect from the other comics because those are the people that get you work. It just clicked in later, I wish it would have clicked in when I was like freaking 19 years old. You know what I mean?
When you after 30, when did you start feeling like you could make a living doing it?
It was soon after.
Really?
The thing is when somebody asks you the question, this is what I say to people: whatever you want to do, you have to believe that you can do it. It's not something, if somebody asks you, you don't have to answer them. You have to be able to answer to you and whoever you believe in, whatever your higher power is, you have to know it. And it was like, I didn't know that when I was 22. I was like, oh, this is a pipe dream. But now I saw it. I saw that, I could do this. I can accomplish it. And then I wanted more and more and more and more, And now here I am on premium cable.
How often do you still do stand-up? Do you go out every night?
Almost every day. When I'm in the city, wherever I'm at. I could probably call someplace and get some sets tonight, but I've just been traveling. I was doing stand-up this past weekend. I was at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Wow. So, I'm always doing stand-up. I love it. It's my first love. But I realize now I also love acting. I love being in. So right now I'm an actor. I'm an actor that does stand-up, even though it was a stand-up that became an actor.
Yeah. Let's get some questions from the audience. Who do we have right here?
Oh, sorry. Hello. Oh, nice pants.
Thank you. You were in Mike and Dave's Need a Wedding Date.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to work on that film?
Jonathan Levine, it was the director of that. No, he was a producer of that. So he just hit me up, hey, you want to do this part? And I was like, all right. So I got there, and it was just great, working with those two. They're just crazy chicks, you know what I mean? Kendricks and Aubrey Plaza, they're just in the back. I wish they would have shown what we really were doing. It was such a mellow version of they had some really funny. I hope they have them in the outtakes because we had a good time filming that. And Adam Devine and I are we're really good friends. We go to the Clipper games together. The Workaholics connection. But it was fun to work on that. I want to do more movies. I got the bug. I was like, get me in movies. Where is my agent?
Do you audition a lot for movies now?
It varies. Look, it's like nobody's writing a part for this. You know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. This guy looked at me like, oh, don't say that about yourself.
Big guy empowerment movies.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There's somebody let's get a mixed race fat guy. You know what I mean? I want to be a superhero. It's not like Captain Twinkie. I don't know. No, but I go out for something. Actually, Melissa Leo, she produced a movie called Furlough, which is coming out, and that has Anna Paquin and Whoopi Goldberg and Tessa Thompson.
Whoopi, she's acting again?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
That makes me happy. That's
yeah,
great.
Well, she did a little part in it, I think. And I was like, it's a movie about prison. I play the warden, and I got that part because of Melissa Leo. So that kind of stuff starts to happen when you're into business, and people are like, hey, I like you for this. So you just go in for stuff. So, and I also did a little indie film called First Girl I Loved. It's just a teen lesbian drama. It was in, what does it call it? Sundance 2 years ago. It won the audience award. It's actually a great movie. You don't even have to be gay or not. You will relate to these characters. So I recommend that movie. It's called First Girl I Loved. You can get it on iTunes. It's actually a great little film.
Fantastic. Let's get another question from the audience. Right
Who we
here.
got?
Hey, Eric. Thank you for being here. I was wondering, if a joke doesn't land, how do you handle it emotionally?
Wow, he said a lot about himself right there, right?
Because I just can't cry anymore. I'm not sure.
Like, I'm dead inside. How do you handle, and when you first start out, that is a big deal. And I don't think you really can like move to the next level and to the point where you don't care about that anymore. Like I'm at the point now where I'll try something, and if it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, cool, you guys don't like that, and then I'll move on to the next thing. I just don't even, there's no emotional attachment at all. When you get to it, you just try it, and if it works, you're like, great. And even if it works, you got to try it again to make sure that it just wasn't that moment in the crowd, Then if it doesn't work, same thing. You go, well, maybe I didn't do it properly. That's why you record yourself and listen. It's a whole process that takes the emotion away from it, where you're not so attached, So that's part of why. I'm a soulless monster.
How long do you stay attached to an idea or a joke if it's not working and try to sort of beat it? And
it just depends on how stubborn I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm like, no, you're wrong. This is funny, And you'll keep trying it until like, one of your friends got to go, dude, stop doing that stupid joke. That's not funny, bro. Yeah, you pull you aside. Hey.
The thing you're opening with?
It's like if you have bad fashion,
Right. Finally, someone says something.
Goes like, that green shirt with the polka dots. Let's not wear that anymore.
I've been meaning to tell you, but now you're wearing it a lot, so cut it out.
Right. It's that kind of thing. So.
I think we have time for one more question right here.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
So besides the fact that Workaholics is completely different from this new show, what was the transition like from working on Comedy Central to doing a Showtime show?
It was a big difference, actually, because after 7 seasons of Montez, like, it came to a point where, like, it was so, not that it was easy to do, but it just was like, I knew what that was, you know what I mean? I can get the script and be like, okay, Montez is doing something stupid, you know what I mean? That's what my mom would say to me, too. My mom would be like, how come you always come in, say something dumb, and leave? And I go, I'd be like, Mom, just be happy I'm on TV, woman. You know what I mean?
Find me a character on Workaholics that doesn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like everybody's job.
Which is like, but they're like the Three Stooges. The chemistry they had was so great. So that's the thing, too, is like, we had this great chemistry. So the transition to this other show was just like this deeper material, like having to really be attached and really making a more effort of like, okay, who am I in this? But I'll tell you what helped. The makeup helped. The hair and makeup, being in hair and makeup for like an hour. Then by the time you were done, I was like, ooh, who is this guy? And then like having such a great experienced cast, but it was a different jump. I was intimidated at first. I'm still even nervous about what people think about it. I'm a little bit like, it's not like doing comedy where I have all this control over it. It's like it's done already. I can't fix it.
You can hear people laughing when you're doing comedy.
Yeah. I get an instant response, which I like. This is like I gotta wait frickin' a year. And these like bastard critics with their like, we don't like us. Like,
and your opinion doesn't necessarily matter when you watch it, because when you're watching it for in a completely different way than most people would watch it.
You know what? I try to watch things that I'm in like an audience member. I really do. Like I can laugh at myself. I used to watch. Sometimes I'd watch episodes of Workaholics and I'd be like, oh, this is really funny. I really enjoy this. Or other times I'm like, ugh, I don't think this is funny. So I can enjoy, I can still laugh. I can look at this and try to look at it objectively and be like, oh, I sucked in this. Or like, ooh, I tried too hard there. Or, ooh,
Luckily, you don't suck in this, so congratulations.
Oh, tell me more about me, right?
I would, but we actually have to go right then and there. Eric, so I'm Dying Up Here is on Showtime's, on Sundays, what time?
Sundays at 9 o'clock on Showtime, but listen, let's be real. Nobody in here is looking at stuff live. Get Showtime anytime, Showtime on demand, DVR, whatever you got to do to watch it. And make sure you watch my special, The Ugly Truth, July 7th at 9 o'clock. It's a Friday. I'm proud of this. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's fun. I did a lot of fun stuff in this, and so, be a fan.
Erik Griffin, everybody. Thanks, Erik.
Thank you.